This quick video is part of a series where I want to show you how to record some pretty useful macros. Now you can write the same kind of macros in VBA code. Here we're just going to record them and you'll have 80 to 90% of the functionality. So how do we do this? Well, first, what I'm doing here is a macro to delete to the end of a sentence. It's something I do regularly. I decide, I'm kind of a verbose writer, so I decide I don't need the rest of that. And I just, with one keystroke, delete everything up to the period or punctuation mark at the end of the sentence. I really like it, and so I want to share it with you. So if I want to delete to the end of this sentence, there's several ways. The first way, which is probably the worst, and I've done it, so I'm not throwing stones, is just to hold down the delete key. Delete, 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 done. That's long and tedious. Another way to do it, a little bit faster, but still tedious, is to hold down the control key and delete a whole word at a time. Control delete deletes the whole word to the right. That's better, but you still press it several times. And let's undo that. Of course, you could use the mouse. You could just come over here and select them. Believe it or not, moving your hand to the mouse is quite a bit slower than you realize. It feels like it's not, but it's quite a bit slower than you realize. It might even be faster just to press the control delete several times. Undo that. So now compare that to our new macro. Alt, delete, done. That is much faster, and that's why I like these macros. It makes simple tasks just quick as can be. So how do I do the recording? Well, I come down here to my little record button, the little icon with a little record button, or I can come up here to the view menu, click macros, and choose record macro here. It brings up my dialog box, so I can choose delete to sentence end. I'm going to append test to it because I already have one called this. Now, it's easier to assign the keyboard shortcut now than it is to wait. So I'll go ahead and click the keyboard shortcut button. So here under the press new shortcut key. Now, I've already described these in the introductory video on this. Hopefully it'll be up there somewhere. And so I'm going to define it as Alt Delete. Control Delete deletes words to the right. So I figure Alt Delete is a shortcut that makes sense for deleting a sentence to the end. So I will click Assign and then Close. Now, if you look at this cursor, it's got a cassette there and it's telling you I'm recording everything you're doing now. Generally speaking, you need to use keyboard shortcuts or ribbon commands so that Word can follow what you're doing. Arbitrary movements and selections with the cursor using the mouse, Word's won't be able to follow that. So I need to come up with a set of sequential keyboard shortcuts or commands that will accomplish the task of deleting to the end of a sentence. Now, I have previously, and there's another video, I have previously added a set of sentence commands to my custom tab here. Sentence extend left, sentence right, and sentence right extend. So I'm going to make use of these. Now, you actually can access these in the regular macro view macros dialog box, but you can't run sentence left extend and sentence right extend. I don't know why Microsoft grays it out there, but you can't. So I'm using these that I've added to my custom tab for purposes of this recording on this macro. So notice here I'm in the middle of this sentence. I want to delete to the end. So what I will do is perform a set of commands to emulate that process, ones that can be repeated on any given sentence. Now here, click this sentence right extend the selection to the end of the sentence to the right. Now notice the selection goes from the cursor position all the way to the beginning of the next sentence. I don't want to delete the period. Now if you're fine with that, then you're done. I want to actually delete it, but I don't want to include the period. So I need to back up 2 spaces. So I will hold the shift key down and use the arrow key to back up 2 spaces. So I'll remove the space between the sentences, then I'll remove the period. Now I'm going to cut it with Control X. Of course, you could just press delete if you want. I will cut it and put it on the clipboard in case I want to use it somewhere. So now I am actually done. I need to tell Microsoft Word to quit recording. So I will come down here to this stop button and click there, or I could go back to the view menu, choose macros, and stop here. Now I'm done. I'm going to undo that and go to a different part of the sentence and try it. Alt delete, boom, it deletes everything up to the period. That's what I wanted. Now there is one gotcha. I'll undo that. If you're at the last sentence in the paragraph, watch it. It's a little awkward. I can press Alt Delete here and it will actually leave the E there. Now why? Because I backed up 2 spaces, which left that E on that last word. And if you notice, the last sentence in the paragraph doesn't have a space after it. If it does, then you have no problems. But this doesn't. Therefore, I have that little gotcha that the exact steps of my macro doesn't handle the last sentence of the paragraph. If you're happy with that, then you're fine. Now, you can correct that in VBA, code. And in fact, I did that in mine. But that's far too technical for right now. And so that is something we'll just have to deal with that for now. So that gives me the power to delete from my cursor position to the end of the sentence. Of course, there are other variations of that. You could select to the beginning of the sentence to delete it. You could select the whole sentence with a couple extra steps put in there. Whatever you find useful in your particular work. So that's it for this quick tip on how to record a macro to delete to the end of the sentence. Try it, see if you like it. Or if you don't try it, next time you need to do that, and you have to control delete to delete all those words one at a time, then think about it then.